You're not supposed to cough right at the beginning. Gosh, that's awkward.
Well,
All
right, we're live. Sorry. Seems like every Thursday we got something we have to go run and take care of.
I know.
We had to go take some food to a son-in-law who's finishing up his airline pilot stuff.
He's
so
getting his hours so he can go work for the airlines.
Gonna go work. Yeah, he got a job for the airlines. So he's
and
got
then we had a grandson soccer game. We just had to be there everywhere.
I know.
At all times. We need to become like
Cloned.
No, we need Hermione's time turner.
Well, there we go. That's what I want.
So we can just like reverse time and then go somewhere else.
I'd always want to go back in time, I guess. You know, I thought about, I remember when you kids were growing up, I used to say, Mom would say something like, boy, I wish they'd just, you know, be quiet or do something else or quit growing up or whatever. And I said, well, there's a reason they don't put a switch on the kid. We wish there was a switch on a little kid. You know? Switch them off for a little bit, like you do with
because you'd never turn them back on.
That's what I told her. I said, we do that. We'd switch them off and we'd never turn them back on,
Right,
so they'd never grow up.
Hey, Susan. She's joining us from Wallace, North Carolina.
Wow. Well, welcome.
Are you in the line of Irma? Or are you like far enough in from the coast that you don't have to worry about it? We hope you're safe.
Yeah.
We feel really bad about all those people down in Texas
Yeah.
and Florida that are getting ready for
It's
the
like
next
it's like there's calamities everywhere these days. I mean, we got a big old honking fire, burned a bunch of homes down, or just down south here, or in Uinta.
Yeah, well, we have two fires, actually. We have one down, there's one in Spanish Fork, if you guys are familiar with Utah at all. That's 0% contained and has eaten like 5 houses and is just like going crazy. And then we have another one that's up one of our canyons that's burning that's like 80% contained, but wildfire nonetheless.
It's because we had extra long dry. I mean,
Yeah.
it's time to cool down.
I know, and then our whole valley is like just filled with smoke, like just covered. So.
Alrighty.
Well, wait, hold on. We got people. Hold on.
Oh,
You're getting excited.
I got people.
They're like messaging, but I missed like a couple of them, so I was gonna go catch up.
Oh, okay.
But
So welcome.
I guess we can start with.
We can talk. There was somebody that pointed out that I got to check with Riverton. Someone pointed out that Riverton had me listed on the 23rd or something. And
Yeah.
I don't know about that, but I'm showing up on the 16th. So I'll contact them and say I'm hearing that some post they have says the 23rd.
Rhoda wants to know if you ever stop.
Oh my gosh.
The answer is no.
Poor Rhoda. Rhoda's my administrative assistant at work, and
she's amazing. Shout out to Rhoda. We love Rhoda.
Yeah,
she's great.
I told her today. She said she makes a lot of mistakes, and I said you don't make half the mistakes I'm making. So you're doing really well. She keeps me in line and makes sure that I'm off to the right places.
Hi, Beckett.
Oh, there's the grandkid.
My little one's here.
Can you come for a minute?
For 2 seconds, sure.
Can't
Come here, bud.
stay.
Mommy got you some chickens. Huh? Sorry, you guys get to see my little nugget for a minute. Hi, babies. Do you want to say hi to people?
He just got home from the soccer game.
Yep.
He's not playing soccer, but it was a
Where
cousin.
his cousin scored 3 goals.
His cousin scored 3 goals, huh?
Yep. So this
4-year-old
is
cousin?
mine.
He's 4, right?
5.
He's
5-year-old.
5.
Hmm.
So he's a couple years older than him.
And I don't think I got your car locked, but
It's fine, don't worry about it. So they just got home from the soccer game. He's gonna go have some dinner with Grandma while we hang out for a minute.
Yep.
You ready to go see Grandma?
No. Now you've created something, Sheree.
I'll put him on the other side. Okay, so first things first, let's review the questions that you were going to go look up and respond to, and then we can jump into questions.
Okay.
So, I'm going to go put him on the other side, but I'm going to pull this up for you.
Grandma's Debbie.
And they're right here. Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot you're blind.
Yeah, you
1 minute.
expect me to see that?
Okay, so you just have to cover, and it has your note.
All
Okay.
right. So the
you
first
ready?
question that I deferred last week was, can we start a petition to open all adoption records in all states? So we're obviously not in control of that, but I'll forward that on. I'll forward that on to the records division, the people there who sit and determine. We have a team whose job it is to determine what are the best records to get that has the most genealogical value to construct families and have good genealogy information. and they determine the priority order of the records that we go and hunt down within a country or area, city or county or whatever. So I'll forward that request off to them.
They can't take off with it.
Well, just remember, since we're talking about records, just remember that today is the last day to order film, microfilm.
So tonight at midnight?
Tonight at midnight. Tomorrow morning, it's no more ordering film tomorrow morning.
Mountain Standard Time?
Yeah.
Or...
And...
so it's almost 8 o'clock here. We're in Mountain Standard Time, so it's almost 8 o'clock. So they've got roughly about 4 hours to get your order in.
Yeah, but, and then we're just going as fast as we can to digitize all those things. So I just want to remind you about that. Okay, so I got the first one. What's the next one?
Okay. Organizing sources.
Oh,
so
someone showed me an example where what they did is they had sources on a person. They wanted to kind of group them and organize them. So they made a new source attached to that person that said -- birth records or -- census records. And then they made sure all the census records were underneath that, or all the birth records were underneath the next row. And that's perfectly fine to organize your sources that way on a person page. I always thought that when I first saw that a while ago, somebody had shown me, and I thought it was pretty clever. So it's not a problem necessarily to do that. Just, we're going to try to work on stuff for sources to let you enter in the event date of the record, and then we'll be able to do things like sorting for you and things like that. But that may not be, if you're wanting to do it by category, then we won't have that capability. So, all right. So somebody asked if that was okay, and I said I have no problem with that. Okay. The next one is, now we got people coming to the house.
All right, Dad.
All right. So somebody received the Your Ancestors Are Featured in Historical Records campaign, and in there was.
Their person wasn't a match.
Yeah, they actually put a record out there that said, hey, this is about your person. I think the intent was try to match the hint. Mm-hmm. And these were not a match. There wasn't any way for that page to reflect that it was not a match, even though you went in and said not a match. And that's because the team that does these campaigns are completely independent of the tree, and they currently don't have any capability. They're sort of static. When they start the campaign to do the page, it stays that way, and so I'll pass that information on to them. But they tend to not get that depth of development, software development.
Okay.
There was a campaign recently that was just released on Sunday about occupation of your ancestors, and I've gotten some feedback on that about sometimes the occupation. That there were cases where they referred to a record that was not attached to the person. I think that's that's something I think that needs to be corrected. So I started working that team to say, hey, I think this is incorrect, because I don't think they should consider that as community okay because it hasn't been attached yet. Mm. So I'm working with them on that in case there was somebody put some Get Satisfaction that talked about this, and I agree it shouldn't do anything unless it's attached. And I talked to the developers today about it, and I need to talk to some of their management about it.
Okay, so the next one was to tell them a little bit about Family.me. So I can do this if you need a drink. You tell me if you need a drink.
So Family.me is a third-party website.
A partner site with Family Tree.
It's a partner site with Family Tree. They read information from Family Tree. They don't allow you to edit it or change it or anything. And I looked at it for a minute or two, and
we checked it out for about 5 minutes tonight.
And I don't know if it makes sense to you how they display stuff and they do things. It's fine. There's lots of partners that take information from the tree and display it in different ways. So if that works for you, that's fine. You realize that it's not. I didn't check it far enough to see how it's updating. Let's say your tree changes. Does it update itself? Or is it just read it once? I didn't get far enough into it to look at that. So.
Well, and the other thing that we want to make sure to point out is if you use Family.me, please know that any changes that you make in Family.me will not be reflected in the tree.
Well, yeah, because they don't write back. So
They just pull information from the tree and populate it into their program, but they do not accept changes. So if you're going to change anything, make sure you're in Family Tree.
Yeah.
We would hate for you to do all this work and then have it not show up.
That's right.
That'd be disappointing.
That would be bad.
Okay. This one's a question about indexing that we got a couple weeks ago that said that they'd seen some collections with FamilySearch that the index like separated from scanning in the film. They had like notes about image numbers and page numbers in those scanning, and they wanted to know in the future if indexing projects would be re-indexed so that they can coordinate.
I don't think there's any plans to re-index anything just because of the overhead of doing that.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a lot of work to index a set of records.
Right.
And you just don't want to go do that again when it's already been done.
We should mention, though, that you did go... He is not over the indexing team.
Yeah, right.
So he did go and take your suggestion to the indexing team and let them know that that was something that you were concerned about or something that you wanted.
But we are, we're looking in the future. We're looking to allow people to correct indexes and stuff like that. And so I'll let them know. I mean, I think the toughest part is figuring out which image went to which record. And if the scanning came later... Oftentimes we get indexes from affiliates. We strike deals, and we like scan them and we index them, but we only get to show the index and not the image. And so there could be some of that involved here too.
Okay. Then the last follow-up one that we had was they wanted to know if you could remove the dash in between the PID number.
So they were looking at the little triangle drop down next to the tree or next to the person, and they wanted to type in a PID. A person identifier without having to put the hyphen in.
Right.
And the answer is no, we can't. I said, oh, well, that's broken. And when I went and looked, and my team reminded me, hey, Ron, remember, that particular field is also a filter. So if you start typing Ron, R-O-N, it filters the people in it. Or you start typing K-W-C, whatever, it just filters and the list changes and shows you only what matches. Well, because... we're allowing you to type in a name and filter it. We don't know when to put the dash in for you. We don't know whether you're entering a PID number or whether you're just entering some piece of data, that you want searched in the filter. So we really can't do the hyphen thing.
The hyphen needs to be required.
You have to enter the hyphen if you're trying to get to a PID.
Okay, we need to say hello. We got somebody that showed up from New York, and we have somebody from Oklahoma. So.
New York, that's like, what?
That's like 10 o'clock?
No, it's like 4 hours, isn't it? No, it's from us it's 2.
2, so it's 10 o'clock at night.
10 o'clock, that's
They're devoted genealogists.
I tell you, your eyeballs are falling out, man. 10 o'clock.
I'm going to be falling asleep here in like an hour. I don't know about you.
Okay,
so we're all caught up, ready for questions. So let's jump in. Are you ready?
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah, you guess so.
As ready as ever.
That's not the answer that they're looking
for. It was a long day today. Rhoda knows.
Well, Rhoda runs your schedule, so I'm sure she knows.
Oh.
All right, so our first question tonight comes from Denise. She wants to know, could you review how you add a new location that is not in the FamilySearch database?
Let me see. Rhoda may have to help me on this one.
We can check it out if you
I can't remember the URL. There's a URL you go to. I think it's familysearch.org/research. We can go try it.
Okay.
familysearch.org/research/places. I think is what it's called. Is that right? Come on, baby. Come on, baby. All right. It's like a winner. We got a winner.
21.
So you go familysearch.org/research/places. And what that does is it has a user interface that will show you...
so right now it's showing us a map.
Yeah, but it taps into all of the standard places that we have in our database.
Okay, so then if I don't have a place,
if you don't have a place, there's a little menu item to the left, and you can give feedback. And it says provide feedback. So you click the little menu icon, which we call it the hamburger icon because it has 3 lines.
Yeah, it looks like a hamburger and 2 buns.
It's a hamburger with 2 buns, so that we call it the hamburger icon.
Okay.
And you click that, and in that menu, there's a give feedback, and all you have to do is in that feedback say, hey, you don't have this place in your database, and I think it should be there, and you can put a description and put in what you think ought to be there, and then that team looks at that list, and they add them in. I mean, they'll verify that it's a real place, and they'll have to go do a little research because they don't just put names, they also put the dates when that city or county or area of the world was labeled that, right? Because, you know, you got Berlin and then you got East Berlin and West Berlin, but that was later, and now it's just, you know, or you have different towns that changed over time, and so they have to record what it was in each time period, right?
That makes sense.
If it changes over time. Like sometimes some cities are in one country and then after a war they're in a different country, and so they got to record
Or
it.
there's multiple of the same city name.
Yeah, so they go do a little research just to make sure they have all the information, then they add it in.
Okay.
And they're usually pretty good about it. So
Alright.
that's how you do it.
Okay, our next question comes from Lonnie. Wants to know.
The big old long one up there. I don't know what that is.
That was a question from
Oh, you got it already.
Jared Weaver, and I added it to the list. So
okay.
it's on there. We're going to get to it. Okay, it's from Lonnie. Wants to know. My second cousin passed away about 2 weeks ago. He and I were very involved in family history. He had reserved some family names for temple work. About half of them were printed out on cards by him, but others were not. How can the temple work be done for those that he did not print? Will his FamilySearch account be locked or something once the church processes his death and shows him on the family tree as deceased? What happens to those reserved names?
Yeah, so they're not automatically released. That is something that we've been asked to develop, but we haven't done that yet.
Mm-hmm.
So if you know someone is deceased, you probably want to wait till they show up dead in the tree. Otherwise, you have to provide some documentation that they are dead. I'm assuming if they're a member, you know, since they're reserving, then the clerk will mark them deceased, and then they'll be known as deceased. So all you have to do in that case, if you are aware of somebody and you would say, I want to help, you know, take care of their reservations, what they can do is you can contact support. So you can call them or you can send a support case and tell them what's going on. And what they'll do is they'll release the ordinances.
To a specific person, or just in period?
Just in period. They'll just release them.
So then you would have to go and re-reserve the names? Then?
That's right. So you would have to go and re-reserve the names. And, you know, depending on the size of the list, you might be able to, you know, I don't know. But that's what you need. Just contact support. Tell them you want to take those reservations, you'd like to have them, and see if they can't send you information about them, maybe the PIDs. I don't know if they can do that all the time. But they'll release them for you. Eventually, what we're going to do, what we want to do, I don't know when. We got so many little things to do. It's hard to know when we're going to do it. We want to make it so that when somebody's marked deceased and they have reservations, we want to wait 90 days, and then we'll automatically release them. The reason why we wait 90 days is sometimes clerks kill people when they're not dead.
That sounds terrible.
I know.
It sounds like a clerk is like a murderer.
Yeah, it's like that's what they do. You know, they're not in the ward. They haven't shown up for a long time, and they're like 90. They got to be dead, so they mark them dead. And of course, that's the wrong thing to do, but they do it sometimes. Maybe they hit the wrong person's name, wrong person, and so they get marked dead. So we don't want to give away the stuff right away. So we got to wait for that to settle, in case they're really alive. I had, and it happens. People do that in a tree too. We have a 1940 census, and my wife's uncle is still alive. He's like 97 or 8 or something like that, and they killed him from the census. Put him in as dead.
Which uncle?
Uncle Orlin.
Really?
Yeah, marked him dead in the tree, and so I had to send him a little message.
Nope,
hey, I happen to know he's
it.
still alive. And they said, "Oops, okay,"
He's
and they got rid of him, deleted him or something. The person who did it.
Unchecked. He's alive.
Yeah, you can't just check alive. So.
I feel like you need to have a YouTube button right there.
Yeah.
All right. Next question is from Karen Hamacher. Wants to know: is there a way to organize your memories, especially photos, in chronological order? If not, is this something that you are considering? Yeah,
there's no way to do it right now. There's no way to drag them around, put them in particular order. This has been requested often because people want to organize. People want to organize them in different ways, right? Yeah. You already have a way to organize them by people because you can do albums and throw them in there and stuff like that. So what our intent is that if you notice on the list view of the gallery, there's two views: the picture view where it looks just pictures,
like little thumbnails,
and then you do list view, and it's got little tiny thumbnails, and then it shows 3 fields that you can fill in: a title, a date and place, and a description. Okay. And so our intent is, and we don't have it yet. We got a few other things we want to do. We want to make stories better right now. That's what we're working on, and we're rebuilding the part of the back end of memories because it's just not holding up to the volume it needs to be. And so our plan is that we'll take the date and the place that you put in, and then we'll probably provide a way for you to say sort by date of the event, and then we'll put it in order. So so yeah, we're planning on that. It's on the list. The team has it on their list of things to do. Not sure exactly when. I'm not, off the top of my head, I'm not recalling when it's going to play. But
well, it's not one of your big projects right now.
No, sorting by date is not a big thing. It's not really super hard, but we've got to fix some other things before we can go do anything. So
well, and you have a couple big projects coming down the line that are kind of
we do have
sucking your time right now.
We do have some big projects, but memories folks have a little more space. So, so I can't give you a date, but yeah, that's on the plan. That's on the plan.
The future.
Yeah, that's on the plan.
All right. Next question is from Piano Mama 88.
Okay.
All right. Wants to know, I merged a relative that had a corrected person on the left side, and now all the temple ordinances say not available. She completed all of her own temple work while she was living. What do I do now?
Okay, let me explain not available. There are some cases, which I'm sure is not this case. There's some cases in sensitive countries, we call them, places like Iraq or Egypt or Saudi Arabia or things like that, where to protect saints who are doing temple work, we don't show those kinds of things. We don't show the ordinances. We just put
like it'll affect their
not available
livelihood.
Right, it'll affect their
job, career, their life, like
that's right.
Those types of things.
Yeah, those types of things. So, but I'm suspecting this is not it. So I'm suspecting this is a person in the United States that's dead, and
your great
you found two people and you merged them together, and now it says not available. Well, the only reason it does that that I found so far, I'm not aware of any other cases, is that somewhere along the line you changed or someone changed the sex of the person. Ooh. So often what happens back in the old days, early days of the church, when they were first starting out genealogy, sometimes they'd get a name submitted by somebody, Tom something or other, and they didn't want to guess wrong, so they would do baptisms or whatever in both sex, male and female. Okay, just to keep all the bases covered.
Way to cover your bases. It seems like a lot of extra work for nothing. But
or not just that reason. It could be somebody put in Thomas and accidentally said it was a female, and so somebody in one of those two paths. So person one is a male, person two is a female, and somewhere in their merge history in the past, or somewhere along that way, they were different genders, different sexes. One was a male, one was a female. And somewhere along the history there, somebody changed one of them to match the other, because you can't merge unless they're the same sex. They have to both be male or both female. So if someone changed the gender, or you changed the gender, whatever reason, it's okay. You can change gender in family tree. That's not a problem. Yeah. But when you merge, if there's ordinances that are on either one of the people, and you change the sex to be different than the ordinances that have already been done on one of those people, then the ordinance tab will say not available immediately. So oftentimes you'll have somebody who was a male, you change it to female, has no ordinances, you merge it with a female that's been a female and has had ordinances done, you merge it, boom, it turns to not available. And that's because there are ordinances on those people that don't match the sex of the person. And so they have to be dealt with. And the way we're handling that right now is you submit a support case and you say, hey, support, I did a merge, fixed the gender, merged people, and now it says not available. And then they'll take a look at it. It doesn't take them very long to do that. They just look at it. They take care of the ordinances that were in the wrong gender, wrong sex. They choose they have several options on what they do with them. But they'll take care of those so that all of the ordinances match the sex of the person. When they do, boom, all of the ordinances will show up. Same thing will happen even if all the ordinances aren't done. So if you had one that just had baptism confirmation, you change the sex, merged it with people, or even just change the sex, then it'll say not available. And until you get that resolved, you can't do the other ordinances. Okay?
Makes sense.
So it only happens when there's ordinances on the person that are different than the current sex that was put in there.
Okay.
Okay?
It's
So
important to check
that's
those
how you
things,
fix
I guess.
this, by sending a support case.
Okay. Our next question is from Cindy. You want to drink?
I'm okay right now.
Okay, so you're getting dry.
Mm-hmm.
I have a 3-time great-grandmother who was given the name Eliza Jane, but she went by the nickname Jenny on many of her records. Should both names be included in her name field, so like Eliza Jane or Jenny, so that the searches will be done in both names, and so that the other family will know that that's what she went by?
Yeah, no. You don't want to put nicknames or things like that in the name spot.
So where do
The
we
name
put
spot should be the actual birth name, and where you should put other names, either nicknames or other, the way this person might have been found on other records. And I think this is an excellent place. There's fields in the other information column, other information, which is normally below the vitals.
Okay.
And add alternate names. You can add nicknames, you can add alternate names, you can add also known as. That's where you put that information. So don't put it in the major name, because their birth name or their official name is Jean Elizabeth Watson or whatever, and she went by Jeannie. You don't want to put Jeannie up there. You don't put her real name, because that's probably what's on birth certificates and that's what's on marriage certificates. And then the alternate names you put down in the other section. You can put Jeannie, you can put Jean or Maria or something like that. Any other name they were known by. Maybe they changed their name, or just maybe on certain records you find that she just said Jeannie, so just put Jeannie down there. And then the search system and the hint system will both look at the regular name and the alternate names when they're trying to find matches in records and hints in records. So a search will work on all of them. So if you put Jeannie and her name's Jean Elizabeth, then you put Jeannie and it'll do a search. You'll find it'll come back with Jean Elizabeth as a match, because it has that alternate name on Jean Elizabeth. Also, you don't want to do that for nicknames. There's some people go in there and say Johnny, and then they put double quotes, Bubba Smith, because Bubba was sort of his nickname. Well, you don't want to put that in the top thing in the name field, because there's no Bubba in any record, and you don't want to go to the temple and take them with the name Bubba, to the temple. So those names that have the double quotes for the little what their name is, that needs to be put down. Bubba needs to be put down in the alternate, also known as. Okay, and you could choose whether it's alternate name, alternate birth name, or alternate or nickname or other name. Yeah, you can choose that. It doesn't matter. All of them will be included in the search criteria and match criteria.
Okay.
So, and matter of fact, I just had a email or something from somebody just yesterday or the day before about nicknames. They wanted me to look for, somebody put double quotes in and things like that, to scream at them to not put that double quote, Bubba or Sue Jean or Aunt, Candy or something like that, because she always handed candy out. Those are all nice and pretty, and they got great stories with them. So put it in the alternate name, then go write a whole memory story about why, why Uncle John was known as Candyman, and that makes a great story in the memories, and have the alternate name Candyman down there. Okay, does that help?
Okay, next question comes from Linda Chappell. Wants to know, is there a watch list for the living coming down the pipeline? I know that I can put a watch on a living person, but would it be possible to have a list automatically available if we have them listed as living?
Yeah, I don't think you can do watch. There was a brief few days or a week where we accidentally turned on watch on living and we weren't supposed to. So I don't think you can do that anymore. I'm pretty sure we turned it off. It was an accident. We're hiring new developers all the time, and little mistakes get made.
Learning curves happen.
So we accidentally turned on watch for living. But there's no reason to turn on watch for living, because the only people who can change living is you, and you get mad when we tell you change stuff anyway, because it's like, I already know I changed it, so why are you telling me? So when that turned on for a little bit, and then it turned off, we had a whole bunch of people that said, why'd you turn it off? And so I went off and interviewed a ton of people and researched and discovered that the reason people want to watch there is because they want to find them. They want to have them in their list, their little short list. The watch list is 5,000 long, and you can have a bunch of them in there. You can filter them. It's sort of like little bookmarks. So, so what we want to do instead. So I believe watching living is turned off now, but we're actually evolving the system a little bit to make it a little faster, make it a little bit cleaner. And one of the things we're thinking about doing is making a recents list that's a menu item like tree. So you'd say tree, people, and then now you have lists. We'll call it a recent lists, and we're going to put it over there instead of the little triangle next to tree and the little triangle next to person, because people don't get what that means and they don't know to click there. And our desire is to allow you to add anybody to that recents list. So you're not watching it. We're not trying to send you email when changes happen. You just say, hey, add this to my recent list, and now it's on your recent list. But most people do it because they either want to find that living person because they think they're going to die soon. They want to make sure they mark them dead, or they're not necessarily connected to your line in a way that's natural for you, and you kind of want to see what's inside of your private area. We're also looking at, in the future, doing maybe a list view of the private area, just in a list instead of looks like a tree. That would be interesting to know if that would be something that would be of interest to you, to have a list of all the people in your private area. I'm not talking about your whole tree. I'm talking about just the living, or those that are sensitive, so they're in the private area. So we'll put a question out for that or something. If you'd like to have if you think a list view would be useful, and maybe tell me why you think it would be useful.
Okay.
So that's our intent, is to have a recents list that not only grows when you visit people or you look at their tree, but allows you to just say, put that on my recent list, so that you remember to go back there. Right? You don't want to get watch notifications. You just want to bookmark it. So that's our intent. I don't know if we're going to have the add to recents when we release this thing in the next little while, but I will point out. Well, I've done it before in the past. I'll point out again because we may have different people. I suggest you go to beta. And I'll write that down. Watch this. How's that?
Whoa, that's probably one of the best handwritings you've had yet.
I'm being very careful.
Very conscientious. That got a little crazy.
All right. Well, I was running out of the room.
Okay, that looks a little. Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Go to beta.
FamilySearch.
Beta.familysearch.org. I wrote crooked. If you go to betafamilysearch.org, it's sort of it's a duplicate of production space of the real familysearch.org. It doesn't have all the data. It gets a little out of date. Once a year, we refresh that beta, but that's the place where we actually put some of our new stuff we're trying out. It doesn't always work great, but that's where we put stuff that. So you could go over there now and you can go look at what the landscape view is going to look like, and maybe get a little hint of what things may look like. Anybody's free to go to beta. You have the same user account and password that you use on production, the standard FamilySearch.org. Be aware, though, that beta can be taken down at a moment's notice. We don't tell people. We just...
Also, we need to mention that any changes you make in beta do not become permanent on the family tree.
That's right. So the beta changes are for testing and playing around. So you can go in there and play around and try different things and teach people out of it. It may die, but because we decide it's time to turn it off or reboot it or something. But it's a good place to sort of play around and get used to things and feel things out a little bit. Our plans are once a year around between Thanksgiving and Christmas. We're going to take all the data that's in the production family search and we'll put it into beta. So it'll be the beta's out of date by 6 months to a year. So you won't see all the people you've added in Family Tree. You won't see in beta because we only refresh it once a year.
So that's coming up probably in the next 2 months.
Between November and December. We do it between Thanksgiving and Christmas.
Okay.
This is our first time.
So get ready. Between Thanksgiving and Christmas, if you visit beta often, it will be changed.
We kind of did beta refreshing when we were in the mood or when we felt like people weren't too upset with us if we do it. So it didn't happen very regularly. And working with support, they like to use beta for some of their training. And so we decided that, and they tell me training between Thanksgiving and Christmas not, crowded.
Well, I can't imagine why.
Yeah.
You know,
so we agreed we'll refresh it then, because it'll take us about 3 weeks to refresh it.
Reboot.
Well, no, it's not just rebooting. It's copying
Oh.
terabyte, 20 to 40 terabytes of data over to the beta, and then starting it up. So that usually takes about 2 weeks to do all that copying, and then another week to get all the systems spun up, and then we can boot it up. So it's not small.
So are you taking your vacation before or after that?
I'm taking my vacation right in the middle of that. I don't have to be there to do that. I don't push any of those buttons. So
I was gonna say you usually take 3 weeks off.
I do, and I've already scheduled it.
It's pretty fun to have.
I think it's going to be 2 weeks, and then
he loves Christmas.
after.
It's like one of his favorite holidays. He sings Christmas songs starting November 1st.
Yeah.
The day after Halloween, they start playing.
Yeah, I have to do that. Otherwise, my kids won't get any presents at all.
You get bah humbuggy as well.
Yeah, it's like I gotta start hearing it then, or I won't buy them anything. They need a Christmas present. Nah, they don't need nothing.
We don't need Christmas.
The heck with you.
Grandkids maybe. Okay, next question is from Heather Quinton. Wants to know, I must be really missing something. Can you delete a photo once you attach it to somebody in the tree?
Okay, well that's a loaded question. So let me tell you. Sounds like his brother. Larry says I sound like my brother. We do sound a lot alike.
Well, and you kind of look a lot
See,
alike.
that always bugged me. My brother and I, we do look a lot alike.
I'm just gonna say.
And then when the grandkids were little, or even when the kids were little, they couldn't really tell the difference.
I'm gonna say. So you guys got to see my little 2-year-old. Whenever this particular uncle, his brother David, comes out to visit, which he's doing in like a week.
15th or something.
So next Friday, he's coming out. When my kid sees Uncle David, he thinks it's his grandpa. And he goes to him first, and then it takes him like a couple seconds to realize, oh my gosh, this isn't my grandpa. And then he freaks out and runs away. Yeah. Like, you guys look so much alike.
Yeah. And it always made me mad.
Yeah.
That people used to ask us if we were twins all the time. And we weren't, because we look so much alike.
And because you're 2 years
But I'm 2 years older than my brother.
Yes.
And I mean 2 years, like really close. He's born on the 18th of November, and I'm born on 26th.
Yeah.
So we're only, what's that? 8 days apart.
Right.
8 days apart, but 2 years. So it's 2 years and 8 days apart.
Correct.
Or I guess it's 1 year and 350 something days apart.
51
and
weeks
so I was mad all the time when I was a little kid that I was older, but he always had his birthday party before mine. It always made me mad. But anyway, we're over that now because we're too old to have birthday parties.
Let me see, I'm talking about Christmas songs. Uncle David, are you referring to the 12 Days of Christmas? Maybe?
Oh yeah, my brother is on now.
He is, and his wife.
Okay.
Yeah, so we have like a
All right, what was the question we were on?
We were talking about, can you delete a photo once you attach it to somebody in the tree?
Okay. Can you delete a photo once you've attached it to a person in the tree?
Yes.
And
then you got sidetracked with
your brother. And I got sidetracked with my brother because Larry said sounds like your brother.
Well, you do.
All right, so that's a loaded question. Let me tell you this. Only the owner of a picture, the person that uploaded it, is the only person that can delete a photo. Okay. But I just, so, give me a drink. However, you're probably talking about, can I remove it from the person in the tree? That's not deleting. That's called detaching. So you attach a source to a person, you attach a memory to a person, and you can detach a memory or detach a source. Those are you need to understand those differences. So yes, anybody can detach any memory on a person in the tree, and you can't delete it unless you're the owner. You can't delete it from the system unless you're an owner, but you can detach it from a person in the tree. And what you do there is you go to the person on the tree, you go to memories, you see this picture. This is not the right person. It's I mean, be careful. I mean, if it's an ugly picture, but it's a correct picture, you probably want to leave it there, you know. But if it's like clearly the wrong person, then you click the picture and you'll be taken to the viewer. In the viewer, you see the big version of the picture, and you see the name of the person over on the side. So I better draw this a little bit. Oh, that's like spit or something?
No, that's your water from your cup.
I dribbled.
Well, you do have a hole in your mouth.
Yeah, it comes with age. Okay.
That's a person?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Is it a circle or is it a square?
It's a circle. And then under here it has some stuff.
Some of his really fancy drawings. While he's drawing this out for you, I should mention
Detach.
when I was like 12, I got a
I can't spell detach.
locket for my birthday. And I wanted a picture of my parents in this locket. And I remember sitting with you in church. We were like in the bench. And I was like, Dad, I really want a picture of you and Mom in my locket. And so he takes the program and like rips a blank little spot out and starts drawing me like stick figure people. And still to this day.
It looked like me and Mom,
I did,
a little
yeah.
bit. I did a pretty good job.
Still to this day, those stick figure people are still in my locket.
Yeah. That's the only picture she has in the locket.
Yeah.
All right, so when you click on the memory, it'll show a screen that shows a big picture of the memory, and then it has the name of the person over here. So I put person 1, but if the dotted line, you know, the little tag says Johnny, over here it'll say Johnny. And then when you click on Johnny's name, it opens up a little menu underneath, and one of the options on the menu is detach. So you click detach, and it will take the picture off of this. It'll take this person away from that tag spot in the person.
So, I'm not trying to compare it to something else, but it's kind of similar to Facebook, right? If somebody accidentally tags you in a photo, or you tag somebody wrong, where you can go back in and fix the tag.
Yeah, but this isn't fixing the tag. This is saying that face in that picture is not that person.
Got it.
And so you click detach, and then that photo will disappear from the list of memories on that person. And when somebody goes to that person, it'll say, this face is not attached to anybody. And so there'll be a clue to say, hey, you need to hook this to your relative. Okay? So anybody can detach. It gets stored in the change log that was detached and stuff like that. And of course, anybody can reattach too. So. And you'll be asked a reason, if I remember right. We asked a reason why, and you need to put a good reason as to why that picture doesn't belong with that person.
Don't say because I don't like this picture.
Yeah, because he looks ugly there. You know, he's making a face or whatever.
I have lots of those of you, like a lot.
I know. It was bad.
Okay, next question comes from KM Lobo. I need to mention that this person is from Sao Paulo, Brazil.
Oh, wow. Brazil.
So, yeah.
Welcome.
Kind of neat.
I don't know. They do like Portuguese? No.
Yes. It's Portuguese in Brazil.
Ula ula. Except it's not ula. I don't think it is Portuguese.
I don't
a
speak
little bit
Portuguese.
different.
You need to ask your brother.
It's kind of like Spanish, but not quite. He doesn't know Portuguese.
I thought he went Argentina.
They don't speak Portuguese in Argentina. They just speak Spanish.
Oh.
Okay.
Obviously, I haven't visited enough countries in my lifetime.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Can we look forward to digitized microfilm? Viewing now only at the Family History Center to eventually be able to access at home via FamilySearch historical records. For example, the civil records for the state of Sao Paulo, Brazil are not digitized.
Yeah, so let me explain now I'll remind people now that we've been going a little bit. Today's your last day to order a microfilm to be delivered to your Family History Center.
You got about 3.5 hours left.
Yeah. So hurry up if you want to order.
So if you're going to do it, rush and go order it.
Tomorrow morning, our time, Utah time, it's turned off, so you can't order anymore. Mm-hmm. That doesn't mean we're not going to continue to scan and digitize the remaining films, okay? Mm-hmm. So we'll continue to do that, and we'll put them up on FamilySearch.org. But I need to help you understand there are two kinds of arrangements that we have made with partners. Remember, we don't necessarily own any records.
Right.
Records are owned by governmental places
and third parties.
And third parties. For instance, some companies will license permission to show records on their sites because they want to collect money or something like that. And they'll pay the government that facility, you know, the county or whatever money to be able to use their images online. We try to do deals where we'll scan things for free or take pictures for free or index things for free, and in return we don't ask for money. We say we'll do it all this for you if you let us show it to our users of FamilySearch, because we're trying to get as much information out there for free. So as a result of this thing, there are some owners of record images who don't want us to show images online. They don't give us permission to do that. Most of the time is because they want to show the images on their own site so they can charge a little fee and help keep the library running, or that particular
their research site,
their research, whatever it is. You know, they charge, you know, $1 or something to see something, or 50 cents or whatever. And they're trying to do that just to help fund themselves so they can continue to provide that to people.
Yep.
So restricted, we call those restricted images, and that means that we can't show them on FamilySearch.org.
No, you have to go to that party's site.
Well, but restricted images we are allowed to show in a family history center. There's some that we can show in a family history center. There's some we can't show anybody, but that, you know, that doesn't help you. So some of these restricted ones we can show only in a family history center. So even though we'll digitize everything, and everything will be on FamilySearch.org when we get done. I think they're projecting 3 to 5 years to finish the remaining rolls of film we have. Everything will be online, but you will not be able to see the restricted ones at home on your computer. You'll see all the others at home. No charge, nothing, everything's great. But the ones that are restricted, you'll have to go to your Family History Center to look at them.
Okay.
Okay? But all rolls that we can put up there will be up there. All right? I hope that explains it okay.
Okay. Our next question comes from Allison Pinnock. Wants to know, is there a limit on how many memories you can upload into FamilySearch?
We currently don't have a limit on the number of images or memories you can create in memories. We do have a limit on the number of memories you can put on a person, that you can attach to a person.
What's that limit?
The limit is 1,000. You can have 1,000 memories attached to a PID, but we currently don't restrict the number of memories you put up into FamilySearch. Now, that doesn't mean that we want every image on every roll of film you've ever shot. You know, be judicious, right? We've had some people that it looks like when we look at them, you know, they have lots of memories that they've uploaded. We go look at them and it's like a family vacation to Disneyland, which could be okay, but it's every shot. You know, they're making faces and then another face and then another face, and it's like 15 shots of the same exact thing just with different faces. And yeah, okay, we're not your backup or your
cloud.
We're not your cloud storage for all your photos. What we're looking for is photos that will, you know, stand the test of time and you wish somebody had taken pictures in the past. You just think about that. What do I want to leave for future generations? And do I really need to have 14 photos of the same exact set of people at Disneyland just doing different poses? Probably not. And I probably won't even want very many poses because I really want to see their face, not, you know, something all contorted thing. Mm. So anyway, just we don't currently limit, and we just keep, you know, buying more disk space and storing it away, and we preserve them. So memories are preserved through our preservation system. So they'll be, you know, that results in multiple backups and tapes and stored in the vault and all that kind of stuff, so that we don't ever lose them. So you can. That's our plan. We have no intention of losing anything. We make multiple copies and backups and things like that in addition to the vault. So okay, there you go.
Really quick, someone asked while you were talking about it, in regards to viewing records at Family History Center. She's saying that she used to be able to see them at the Chicago records for free, but now they're requesting $15 per record. Is that part of it? Is that normal?
Well, I don't know. You know, you got to send me an email with some screenshots or something for this, because there was somebody on Get Satisfaction who started complaining about FamilySearch asking for money for records. And we ask nothing. All of our stuff is free.
Right.
We don't ask money for anything. We do have places where you can donate if you want, but we don't charge for any of our stuff.
Right.
It's paid for by the members of the church and their generous tithing donations. And but somebody complained that they were on FamilySearch and they were getting asked to give money. And so I need to know where this is happening. So I need you to send me an email, Ron, R-O-N, at FamilySearch.org. Send me an email if you can describe what you were doing. Take a screenshot if you can so I can see the URL of where you are. And I want to see why anybody's charging for stuff. Mm-hmm. There shouldn't have been any changes. So I believe that you've left FamilySearch.org and you've gone to some other site, a partner site or something, and you're now at that site and they're asking for money, which they have the right to do if it's a legit partner site. So anyway, please send me an email with all this information, screenshots, things like that, whatever you can do to help me understand and do the same thing you're doing so I can see where it's wanting to ask you that kind of money. And then I'll alert the records division and I'll go talk to the partner people about this and see what's going on. Why all of a sudden is that happening? Yeah,
that's not very fun.
Yeah, it seemed like the person who put it in Get Satisfaction, we kept saying, well, you must not be on FamilySearch.org. And they say, yeah, I am on FamilySearch.org. Well, no, you're not. There's no way. We don't charge anything. Yeah. And so maybe something's going on, some bad code or some bad screen or something. We want to go fix that.
So, Cindy, if you're on, please send us a screenshot to Ron at FamilySearch.org so he can take a look.
Now, somebody said something there at
Chicago and Cook County recalled their films, and now what you get is a link to the county to purchase a copy of the record.
Oh, there you go. So there's somebody who's more in the know. They said Chicago and Cook County recalled their films, which means they contacted FamilySearch and said, you can no longer show our images on your site, which happens from time to time. And so now you're showing a link on FamilySearch that says, we probably have still have the indexes. That's usually what the deal is. Mm-hmm. So you're probably looking at indexes and it says, click here to go to a partner site to see the image. And when you get there, they're charging you money to see the records. It's unfortunate they charge you so much.
$15 seems a lot.
Most people would charge like a couple bucks or a buck. Yeah. So I don't know why they're wanting to gouge us. But thanks for that. But still send me the information, please.
We can't control that either.
No, we can't. You've left our site. You're on their site. We don't have any control over what they ask
charge or whatever.
Yeah.
Okay. Next question comes from Jared Weaver. Wants to know: in my living area, my brother, sisters, children, and cousins are listed twice or more. I think it is caused by data getting put into the family tree more than once. Is there any way to remove a duplicate living person?
All right. Well, there's a couple of reasons why you might have duplicates in your living. There was a little bug that we were having for a little while, where if you were using the consultant planner in an unexpected way, meaning you need to understand that when you go into the consultant planner and you have a list of people that you can help because you've invited them or you've added them, when you click on one of the names, you have just gone into helper mode. You used to didn't see it. I yelled and hollered and said, you got to put something over the side that says you're in helper mode because you're no longer you anymore in the tree. Yeah. You're somebody else. So if I go into consultant planner and I click on Tegan's name, now I'm Tegan in the tree. Okay? Well, if the person you're helping, this is the bug that happened, and we fixed it since, but this could be residue left over. If there were people that would, and by the way, you can only help one person at a time. So what will happen is people go to consultant planner, then they'll click a person, and then they'll click on a person in that, as that person, and they'll say, open in another tab. So they open a tab to help one person, then they go back to the consultant planner and they open the tab to help another person, and they click on the tab and open another person. Well, in reality, you're helping the last person in all three tabs. Okay. So they go in there and they think they're changing the tree, and you're really changing the tree on behalf of that third person, not the one you thought it was. So you can only go into helper mode with one person. So if you're using the consultant planner, you click to help somebody, and then when you're done helping that person, you have to delete that tab, go back to the consultant planner, click the X to exit out of the helper for that person, and then pick somebody else.
Okay.
Just to make sure you're not in these weird situations where you're trying to help two people. It looks like you're helping two people, but you're really only helping one. So we had a little bug there that if the person you were helping had no tree, okay, so you end up helping somebody who's never been to FamilySearch,
Okay.
and it's a member of the church, we'll generate their tree when you go to help them.
Okay.
Okay? Well, there was a little bug where when we said generate the tree, instead of giving them the name you're helping, we gave them your name. And so it regenerated your tree again. And so you ended up having two copies of stuff.
3, 4, however many
Yeah.
times you went there.
Usually it was only 2 before people panicked and stopped something. But
Got it.
so we are planning on providing merge for living. But if you have 2 copies of your spouse, or 2 copies of your kids, or 2 copies of your parents, and odds are you put memories and things on one of them. You probably didn't put it on both of them, and you don't care if there's both of them there. So you could delete one of them, but you may want to wait. If we regenerated, and made copies, that means that the versions you had before were not hooked to membership records. We didn't realize there were membership records involved.
Okay. He's adding. He doesn't know if that's it. He says he thinks it might be a couple of JEDCOM files that have caused the problem.
Oh, okay. He says maybe JEDCOM files. That would only work that way if it was you who imported the JEDCOM file. That would only happen if you were the one who looked at the JEDCOM file, went through it, and said, "There's no duplicate. You're not going to find duplicates for living." So if that's what you did, then yeah, it could be you. If you uploaded the JEDCOM file and you transported it into Family Tree, then yeah, you could be that. But I don't think so, because I'm pretty sure
it's the bug problem.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that we don't keep we suppress the living in the JEDCOM. I'll have to check that actually. I'm gonna send myself a note.
I'll get you.
Okay. I gotta go check to see if when import of a JEDCOM then brings in the living, but I don't think it does, because we try to block the living because we don't want to show JEDCOM file living because it's living people. We can't do that. So if it is, that's fine. So you have a choice of deleting one of them right now, or you can wait a while, and it probably will happen by the end of the year. We'll have ability for you to merge 2 people in the living place. So then you can wait till then, and you'll be able to enter the 2 PIDs, and then you'll merge them, and you'll have 1 copy of the living person. So you choose whether you want to delete one of them now or wait to merge. Okay?
I'm just writing a note.
Write a note.
I have to have things to tell them about.
No, that's fine. That's fine.
And then you get like long-winded, and then I'm like trying to like catch up with you.
Okay.
Gosh. Okay. Next question is from Tracy. Wants to know, is there a reason why you can't search for someone in your own tree by name? Under person is the go-to box where you can type in any PID, but generally speaking, people don't have anyone's PIDs memorized. It would be much easier to be able to type in a person's name so that you can go straight to that person's page. As it is, you now have to click through your tree, going back through generations and branches to reach a specific person unless you have the PID.
Yeah. This has been an often requested feature. And so the feature she's asking for is, there's 50 John Smiths in the tree. There's a whole lot more than that, but let's just say there's 50 John Smiths in the tree. Okay. But I want the John Smith that's in my line. Okay. I don't want the John Smith that's
in the so-and-so's line.
Right, in somebody other line that was born at a different time and all that kind of stuff.
Okay.
And so she wants to do a search and then find the John Smith in her line, not a John Smith from some other line. The thing that gets, let me tell you a couple of technical issues here. One is if we're searching for John Smith in your line, do you just mean direct ancestors? Or do you mean direct ancestors and maybe descendants? And do spouses count? So if I go up and I go down and then the spouse of that person is John, do you want me to return that one? And so, and then how far back do I go? Do I go back to Charlemagne? And you know, so I could end up walking all the way back to Tree and then going down all the way down, and now you've got 384 million people you're looking for, and you're going to get, you know, 100,000 Johns anyway. So if we do the within my line, it'll be very restrictive, meaning it'll have to be either direct line ancestor, you know, or a spouse of a direct line ancestor, or down maybe a couple generations, not all the way down. So if you went back 10 generations and then we went down 7 generations till we hit living, you're going to have millions of people, especially if you're in, you know, the big tree. You know, it's called El Gigante. I found out today. They nicknamed it El Gigante, which means the giant one, right? And so we have one tree that had, the last time we measured, and it's been probably 5 or 6 months ago since we took the time to go measure. It was like 384 million people in one tree. Oh, and that's the big one that, you know, has most of the United States and a bunch of England and everything like that. And so I need help. I need guidance from you. You need to tell me, are you willing to live with those restrictions? Or is there some, or if we do this recents thing, well, that probably won't work either, because you may not want to have it in your recent list. You just want to go find it. So it has been requested. We've thought about it a bunch, and we're kind of stuck on, you know, maybe we could put in some things that says 4 generations up and 3 down or something like that. You'd certainly get less than all Johns in the whole tree, in the whole world. But okay. So I need a little more, you know, feedback on that.
Well, I will ask. Don't worry about it. I got it.
Okay.
You just don't panic.
Okay,
about
I'm not looking
stuff,
at the screen.
Just go. Just go. This is why I'm like typing and going.
Did I answer the question?
Yeah, you did.
Okay.
Okay. Norman wants to know if he sees a photo of a person and they're not tagged in that photo, should he tag them? I'm guessing in memories.
Yeah, if you, we would like that. I mean, if you know the person.
So I think what he's saying is like, so say I uploaded a picture, right? My famous Disneyland picture or something.
Right.
And it had you and mom and grandma and some like great distant aunt in it. Should I tag that great distant aunt in it if she's not in it? Because I uploaded it to like your memory?
Yeah, I think we want everybody tagged.
So if you know the person, tag them.
We want to tag because the knowledge of who that person is disappears quickly. Mm-hmm. I mean, I went through and scanned all of my mom's pictures when my father died, and I found all their genealogical information, all of their photo albums.
Yeah,
I brought them over here, and it took me months, and I scanned every picture, and I couldn't figure out who the people were in the picture. I couldn't even figure out my own kids. You know, I asked my wife, "Who's this one? Is this Tegan or Kellen?" And then she goes, "That's Tegan." Okay, you know, we never write on the back of the picture when we take it who's in it, because we figure we'll always know what they look like. Yeah. But when it's a little tiny baby and they kind of don't have a lot of facial features, sometimes it's hard to tell whether it's one or the other. So if you know, please tag. I mean,
are you allowed to tag if you're not the owner of the photo?
Absolutely.
Okay. Absolutely. I just want to make sure that.
So we don't want to lose that information. If we can know the information that face, that person in that picture is that person, that is gold. We need that, and future generations will want that. Because the knowledge gets lost. I mean, like I'm saying, you guys are still around. I'm the one that took the pictures, or mom took the pictures.
Dad, I'm like in my 40s.
I can't figure out who's who in the picture. So
true.
Or a neighbor kid or a cousin. It's like I don't know who that is. That was 10 years ago. I can't remember. So
I guess we should also mention that you're not very good with names.
Yeah, well, and it's unfortunate because we're all doing digital stuff, and there's really not a lot of facilities in Instagram or in our Google Photos to tag who people are, is there?
If they have an Instagram account,
yes. So that'll help.
And I think in Google Photos you can add a description to the photo.
Yeah, so wherever you store your photos, what I did when I scanned my mom's is I scanned the picture and then I kept a spreadsheet. Mm-hmm. And I had each photo, every time I scanned it, I gave it a number, made sure the file name is the same as the photo name on the spreadsheet. Mm-hmm. And then I'd write in there, you know, left to right or top to bottom, and I'd put all the names I knew. And if I didn't know, I'd put a question mark. Mm-hmm. so that I can ask my mom, oh, who's in it? I know this and this, but I don't know that person.
Right.
And then I can go fill out the spreadsheet. So, and I don't like that because they're in different places, but anyway, always record that and always tag.
Okay.
Now, I will say that if you tag somebody who's living and you attach it to a living person, then, you know, there's a privacy issue there about showing those names. So we'll take care of that for you. But if you have a living person and you've tagged the name, we want you to go ahead and do that because when they pass away, the tag will show up to everybody. Okay. But you may be the only one that sees it because they're living.
Until they pass.
Until they pass. When they pass, when the PID that it's attached to, that tagged to, say this person is that PID in the tree, when that PID in the tree goes dead, then that tag will show up for everybody. Okay. So
tag regardless of whether
always tag.
Or you're dead. Always
tag. And don't worry about, you know, if there's a living person and multiple people tag it, it doesn't matter because when they die, people will delete the excess tags and it'll be fine.
Okay. Last question of the night.
All right.
Diane Westmoreland wants to know.
She knows. She got in.
I went to go merge 3 records, but they all say that they can't be merged because they are read-only. What is read-only? Are they an IOUS?
Ah. Read-only does not mean IOUS.
Before we get too far, we should probably explain what IOUS.
Yeah, I always do, so I will.
Okay.
You know, I always use the same pitch because it's kind of funny, you know.
Well, it's creative.
Yeah, well, I did make it up. So I didn't make up IOUS, but I made up the reasons. So IOUS stands for those who don't know, Individuals of Unusual Size. And that acronym came into existence with our previous system prior to Family Tree.
New Family Search.
Yeah, it was called New Family Search, and it's not new. Don't call me and say, is there a new one? No, there is no new one. It's the old FamilySearch.org, which the boss happened to call New Family Search. We kid him about it every time it comes up. What a lousy name for a product, New Family Search, because then what do you do next? New, you know, super new, much better than new, you know, so
new.
Stupid. But, you know, he was at a spur of the moment, and that's what he came up with.
Okay.
Anyway, back in that system, you couldn't, when you combine things together, we kept reading the data. We kept all the data on the person, so it got bigger and bigger and bigger. And finally, it got so big that it would blow up these massive servers that we have in the data center. It just ran out of memory, and so it just died. And so we were constantly had dying servers. And so we, in this previous program, we made it so you couldn't combine too many together so you wouldn't blow up the machine. And they used to call them fat people, but they didn't want to offend any fat people, you know. Some fat people. They didn't want to offend us, and so they called them IOUSs, Individuals of Unusual Size. Which comes from Princess Diaries movie. Princess Bride movie.
They call them
rodents of unusual size. So this is Individuals of Unusual Size, like as if we didn't know that meant fat people. I don't know. We're not dumb. We're fat, but we're not dumb.
Correct, I guess.
Anyway, when we moved from New Family Search, the old system, to Family Tree, we redesigned the whole thing. We can't get IOUSs anymore. They don't exist anymore.
Okay.
And we took all the ones that were IOUSs, and when we moved them over to Family Tree, we did IOUS blasting. We wrote a tool called IOUS Blaster. Whoa. And what it did is it blew the people all apart. So this big IOUS person was made up of, 800 people. And so before we moved them over to Family Tree, we blew it up into 800 people, and then moved it over.
So returned it to its previously uncombined state.
That's right.
So that people would have to merge.
So it's unfortunate. I'm sorry. You have to merge them again. But there was also a lot of problems with the IOUSs because they ended up merging people that shouldn't have been merged. And so you have to merge them together. So this is, so now I'm trying to remember the question. So this is not a product.
She merged 3 records.
Yeah, this says locked. It says locked.
It's read only.
Yeah, it's read only.
So what does read only?
So read only has nothing to do with IOUSs, but I needed to make sure everybody knew there are no IOUS problems anymore in Family Tree. You can combine as many people or merge as many people as you want to merge, and it's just going to keep on going and not have any problems.
Right.
I will admit that we had to put some controls on a few things to try to help you make things a little more genealogically accurate. Like, for instance, you can only have 200 parents, and you can only have 200 spouses and 400 children.
But what if I have 401 kids?
If you have 401 kids, we won't let you combine it with somebody else until you get to 400 or less.
It's really offensive. What if I really gave birth to 401 children?
Yeah, well, we actually looked it up. There's actually a documented one person had like 420 or something
Oh
like
my
that.
goodness.
But I decided 400 was enough.
Okay. So what is read-only then?
So read-only means that for some reason, at some time, since the beginning of the FamilySearch.org, the new version of it, in 10 years ago to now, there was a problem with these persons, and an administrator in the system decided that we needed to lock this person from being changed. So locked means it's read-only, locked, which is read-only, which means no one can edit it or change it because there's something special about that record. Now, my personal opinion is we have too many of these read-only people. So I've been working with support. We've come up with a plan on, and as a matter of fact, they owe me a list. She was supposed to send it to me and it didn't come yet, of all the ones they've said we think need to make these read-only. Let me explain why we would even do read-only.
Isn't there specific people too? I know that you come home and said like Anne Frank, for example, is a read-only because
she's a famous person and we don't want people to just change her to have extra kids or husbands or mess up her name and stuff because
that's historically correct. She's a historical figure.
Well, not all read-onlys are historically correct because we didn't take that effort in the past. But going forward, we're going to try to say only things that we have researched and we know they're correct are read-only.
Okay.
And the rest of them will not be read-only anymore. And then we'll provide a mechanism for you to contact somebody who's sort of watcher, the keeper of this read-only person. Because there may be, you may have some pictures that we don't have. You may have some sources that we don't have. And we want to be able to make this correct and better. So we'll provide a way for you to contact the person that has stewardship over these read-only records when we get there. We're not there yet. If you believe that the thing you have should not be read-only because it's not a particularly famous person, like, apostles of the earliest church, most of them are probably read-only. Presidents of the church will be. But there'll be some random people that are like reverend in their name or something like that may be read-only. If you believe that should not be read-only because it's not particularly famous or a person of notoriety, George Washington, for instance, or Abraham Lincoln or something, then send a support case and say, I don't think this person should be read-only. They'll review it. If they agree that it doesn't meet this new standard that we're working on, then they'll turn off the read-only, and then you'll be able to do what you want to do.
Okay.
Right.
So Diana,
kind of long-winded, but I want to make you understand IOUS is and what read-only is. Two different things.
Right. So Diane, if you feel like that person is that case, you can go ahead and start a support case and get that going. Mm-hmm. Okay. So that's the end of our questions for tonight.
Okay.
We should wrap up by saying if anybody is in Utah, not this coming Saturday, however, the following Saturday,
16th.
He's speaking at the Riverton Family History Center. He's giving the keynote speech as well as teaching a class and answering some questions.
Right.
So if you're in the area and you want to come by, he'd love to see you. It's 9 a.m. at the Riverton Family History Center. Yeah, in Riverton, Utah, in the Riverton building, I guess they call it. I don't know. I know the keynote is in the cafeteria. Yes, and so will the Q&A. So he's just going to stay put. So if you want to see Ron, go to the cafeteria. Yeah, cafeteria is where they do the keynote. I'll do that. It starts at 9. It's about an hour, and then they have a bunch of classes afterwards. Yeah. From 10 to 11, they have a bunch of classes. I'm going to stay in the cafeteria and answer questions from 10 to 11 for any questions that anybody has. And there was somebody who told us that there was an error, or that the Riverton Family History Library had mentioned it was on the 23rd. Yes. However, we know it's on the 16th. We've talked to the... Well, I've seen I went and reread all my emails, and when they told me it was the 16th, so I'm going to contact the Riverton folks and say, hey, somebody said that you had posted somewhere it's the 23rd, so go check your stuff and make sure you got it the 16th. Okay. Let's see. see. Diane wants to know. We're having a big discovery day this Saturday in Turlock, California. Would you come? He won't fly.
Yeah, well,
so the answer is probably not.
You don't need me because in Turlock, California, you're having Robert Kerr go and talk, and he's pretty good. You know, he works with me. He's one of my guys, and Robert does the search stuff and the hinting stuff. So I know for a fact he's going down there because I'm supplying, you know, the car and the gas and stuff for him, and he's leaving tomorrow to head down there to Turlock, California.
So just as a side note.
Well, but he's driving too, so.
Well, I know, but just as a side note, if anybody wants him to come, it's like he's like super booked. But if it's anywhere further than like a 10-hour drive for him, he will not go.
Well, I don't know. Yeah, probably not.
No, because.
I might go down to Texas in a few years. I understand that they're going to have the eclipse down there in 7 years, so I'm probably going to go down and visit my brother in Dallas.
See the total eclipse.
Yeah, and they have a family history center down there that does a good job, so I may volunteer to do something down there if I go down there. Yeah. But I've gone all over. I've gone to Idaho and California.
You're going to Colorado next month.
Going to Colorado next month, and I go around. I just did enough flying.
He has to stay right near Utah.
I don't have to. It's just.
He doesn't love traveling.
I did enough flying, and I don't want to do any more.
Yeah. He's an old fogey.
Yeah.
He's a homebody.
But I don't mind driving, and the missus comes with me, and it works well.
Yeah. Okay. Anything that you want to impart or add? I know.
No. Thanks again for everybody for coming on. Please tell others about this. Let me know if it's useful or not. Help me correct things if I'm saying the wrong things, and just. This is the first time I'm hearing these questions, so it's not like I researched the questions or anything. It's just on the fly. And but thank you for all you do. Thank you for trying to make the tree good and working there. I appreciate it. Yep. I was very nervous about people using the tree, and it seems like it's working. So I really appreciate your efforts. And keep telling me, you know, as always, you're welcome to send me an email anytime. I don't necessarily answer super fast because I get a lot of emails, but I will answer every email. And I'll try to help any way I can. And tell others about this, and so they can come get their questions answered, and they can watch prior videos that we've recorded at Facebook Live events. And
we do have a YouTube channel. I posted about it yesterday. If you want to go and see past videos and you don't know where to find them on Facebook, I update them. Usually I upload them within 2 days of us doing a live. They'll be live on YouTube, and you can watch them there. Anything else you want to add?
There was something that I can't remember now. I guess it must not be important. But I don't know. Just you're doing great. Just keep going, and things will be great, and we'll get better. We're always working on trying to do new things and try to make it better. We really appreciate it.
Well, everybody's learning at the same time. This is a new program, new everything. So everything is a new discovery for everybody. So we appreciate you putting in the effort and working with us and learning side by side.
Right.
It's a lot of work.
All right.
So, have a good rest of your evening. Oh, the next live is going to be on the 21st, which is a Thursday as well. So, in 2 weeks, not next week, the following week. You're free to submit questions anytime you would like. We have a form, and it's in the pinned post at the top of our Facebook page. You just go in there and dump it in there. It records all of the questions for me. I don't delete any of them. So I'm like, when I put in the YouTube, I have to go back and like look at what we talked about. So
that you can remove them. So we don't answer them again.
All right. So please feel free to jump in a question at any time. We'll be more than happy to answer it at the next live when we do them.
There was something else I was going to say. It was, don't forget, it's getting Roots Tech time. So if you're interested in Roots Tech, I think go check out the site because I think you can register either now or soon.
I'll go look really fast.
Do a look over there. It seems like we were talking about Roots Tech today. And
Org?
Rootstech.org.
What's new at 2018? Oh, buddy.
Preparing. Does it have any kind of book your hotel, watch past? No. Okay.
Hold on. I'll check here. So right now all you can get is your hotel.
When it talks about the hotel.
So it isn't open yet. However, I'm sure it will be coming soon.
Yeah, it's going to be coming soon because it's September. It's in February.
February or March. So
it's in February, I think, this year.
It doesn't have a date.
August. No,
it just says August 2nd. I don't know what that means.
That must be when they're
They
going.
goobered. It's already past
Oh, it
August.
is past
We're in
August.
September. Oh, it's a blog post. That's why.
Does it say when?
Okay, so
It's
Roots Tech is
February. Yeah.
February 28th through March 3rd. So if you're interested in coming, the registration will probably open up here in the next few weeks.
Yeah, well, you want to get your hotel because I was usually up there several days, so I got too tired to drive home and back up. So there's like 100 miles, so I just stay up there now, and I had a hard time getting in a room. So
yeah. So if you're interested in booking a hotel room, you might want to like start looking into that now. We know that the Marriott is directly across the street from the convention center.
Yeah, there's 2 or 3
so you can walk
hotels right there.
There's like a Radisson and then like a
February
Sheraton or
28th,
something like that. So maybe look into your hotel. We'll try to keep track of when registration opens. Oh, Amy just said it opens on September 20th.
There you go.
So not next week, but the following week on a Wednesday is when registration opens. So if anybody is interested in getting a ticket.
Yeah, and come. It's going to be great. We reviewed a bunch of the classes that are going to be happening today.
Are you speaking at Roots Tech?
Yeah, I'm speaking at Roots Tech. I'm talking about I've been doing a family tree futures thing for a lot of years. And, I'm glad that you let me repeat things a couple of times because sometimes we don't get it done in the year, right? And,
oops, just kidding. We're going to add it to this year.
Yeah, it's a repeat for this next year. But I've been asked, but we've combined a couple of classes, and I'm going to be talking about all of FamilySearch now. All of the latest things we've done in the last year and the things that we're planning for the next year or two. Okay. And that's what I'll be talking about. And then Brian Edwards, who normally did the FamilySearch one, he's talking about how to use Ancestry and Family Tree together to get even better research and better records and things like that. So he's a sharp guy. He knows how to do that well. So he does a lot for his own genealogy. So it'll be good to hear him do that. And then for those of you, I don't have a ticket secured yet, but I'm going to try to talk to their marketing team again and to see if those of you that can't make it, if we can do a live broadcast again this year. I know a lot of you guys enjoyed being able to follow along on the page. We did that on a couple of classes. We did. You had a couple interviews that I was able to record. So I'll try and work that out that we can do it again this year. But yeah, if you can go. It's really cool. It's super fun. I'm not like a big genealogy person, but it was actually kind of fun to walk around and be like, look at all these cool things. Yeah, there's lots of cool things, lots of booths, and the largest I think it's the largest genealogy conference in the world. I think right now.
Well, in Salt Lake. Side note: if you haven't been to Utah, during that time of year is beautiful. It's covered in snow, and it's really a beautiful sight if you haven't seen Utah in the snow. So we highly recommend it. Do they ever? Oh, they want to know. Does Roots Tech put a limit on your registration?
I'm not sure what you mean by limit.
Like limit how many people, maybe?
Well, there's 2 parts to Roots Tech. There is a conference part that lasts for 4 days. I think it is Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Tuesday,
it goes like Wednesday through.
No, Tuesday.
Oh, Tuesday
through Friday.
Saturday?
Friday.
No, Saturday is.
Oh, Saturday. And then there's a discovery day for LDS people on Saturday that is free. And there is a limit. I don't know if there's a limit.
I think they limit the Saturday Discovery Day because the Saturday Discovery Day has smaller little classes that are focused on helping members work through things.
I can't remember if there's a limit.
So, not sure.
But I can't remember.
The convention center is gigantic. I wouldn't be surprised. Like
it may be something like you can only get 6 tickets for it or something. I don't know.
Oh, Amy's saying Wednesday to Saturday, and then Saturday is a Discovery Day, and the Discovery Day is limited.
Yeah,
so the Discovery Day has a
that's the Saturday LDS Discovery Day.
The rest of the time, I don't think it's limited. I think anybody can get a ticket.
Oh yeah. And then for the Saturday one, when they give you the band and it's all free, they limit the number of tickets for that per registration of Roots Tech, or just if you just want to go to that. Okay. Thank you, Amy. Thank you, Amy, for that help.
Yeah, thanks, Amy.
Amy's from Family, so she's our FamilySearch person over all that.
She says usually you can get 10 tickets for Discovery Day per person.
There you go. 10 tickets per registrant.
So, okay. So I think that's it for us today. I'll put a reminder in the group for you guys on the 20th to go get your Roots Tech tickets. I'll put that in there so that you guys have a nice little reminder about that. But thanks for coming and watching us. Sorry we were a little late today. Hopefully we made up for it. We went a little over today.
Yeah, so. I'm sorry. We're
busy people.
Today I got home late, and then we had something we had to do before we could do this.
Well, and we got a sneak dinner in there because he's like the Snickers commercials, he gets hangry, and I don't want him talking to you meanly, because that's not nice.
All right. Well, thanks so much. We really appreciate everything you do.
Yep. Thanks for joining us.
And it's good to tell us your successes and tell not just your struggles, but tell us what things are working great for you. And I'm interested, you know, recently you've been talking a lot about how we can get families to help each other. And thanks again for helping me. We put that little post out there and we got a lot of good ideas.
Yeah.
And I actually shared some of those ideas. Thank you for that in my presentation for Education Week. And I think it was, you know, inspirational for people because they're struggling how to figure out what to do for their family to get them involved. So thanks for your help. I consider you all an asset that I appreciate.
We might be asking you again.
Maybe for some more things.
He's got a few conferences coming up before December, and then we start back at Roots Tech and start
over again. Start over again. All right, thank you, Nancy. Have a good night.
Have a good night, guys.
Thanks for being here.